right, so good to have you back. It's still the Good Morning Cross River. Remember, just in January this year alone, we've had about 3 fire outbreaks in Calabar metropolis. The very recent was what we had in Calabar, University of Calabar there, I think over the weekend, where a department was being consumed by fire. And to come talk to us on all of this, we have a seasoned HSES part in the house to come talk to us on safety against fire outbreak. We have Engineer Toby Michael. Engineer Toby, so good to have you join us on the set.
So good to be back again. Good morning, Cosplay.
I love that word. So good to be back again. and this is the first time you're using our international set.
Yes, this is the first time. I feel great sitting here this morning.
Yeah, happy new month.
Happy new month.
Okay, let's quickly go back to the issue on ground. We've seen in very recent times, only in a month, we've had about 3 to 4 cases of fire outbreaks in Calabar. Let's get to know what are the major causes of fire incidences.
Yeah, thank you so much, MC Joe. I must let me start from basics. Of course, fire is a chemical combustion reaction between 2 or more substances. But basically, we just say fire is that reaction between heat, fuel, and oxygen. And take note that oxygen is always present in the atmosphere. So people who throw away cigarettes, base carelessly, people who overload electrical sockets, people who are deliberate about setting fire, who are arsonists, are all part of the contributing factor to fire. I remember that sometimes back, there was power seizure in my area, and then by the time they brought current that was too high. Of course, all the equipment or appliances, including bulbs that were on at that time, blew up. Now, if it goes worse than that, or if there were no control measures like the proper lightning arresters and all that, houses could have been raised with that incident alone. So you discover that the factors are not ending, but we can categorize them as maybe 4 major causes. The first one can be accident for people who don't. It's not deliberate; it just happened by chance. And then we also look at arsonists, people who deliberately set on fire. But one of the most common type of fire, of causes of fire, is carelessness. Quite a lot of people are careless about handling, things that could cause fire. We'll break it down as this proceed, and then the other aspect, which is the fourth, is the act of God. Especially in rainy seasons, you see a lot of thunder and lightning. And of course, you can't control it, so we call them the act of God. They are not caused by human, they are natural phenomena, just like we had the hurricanes and all that. If you look at Australian fire, you discover that they are natural. They come and then it's fire all over Australia, and then at some point in the part of the year, it doesn't occur. So you discover that there are also natural factors that causes fire. Other factors could be fraud, maybe somebody trying to cover a fraud, or after looting or stealing. Also, you can have political unrest. There are people who fight for boundary walls. There are people who fight partisan politicians who go extreme, setting secretariats on fire. There was a time we had over 19, if not more, INEC buildings or offices across the country burned down. Those were deliberate. Those were just political unrest. And so civil disturbances also, boundary wars and all that. So we have quite a long list of causes of fire. But also, as much as we have these causes, we still have control measures. So as we proceed, I will outline the few that I can.
Okay. Let's look at Calabar here. We are jolly good fellows. Let's look at the act of carelessness. In the last 31 days, we've seen several fire incidents. Would you think we see carelessness being one of the major causes of those outbreaks?
Well, we cannot conclude until if proper investigations are done. A few days ago, I was in the house, I think last week, and then I got a call from Cross River Watch correspondent, Jonathan Lubal, telling me that there was serious fire outbreak at SCN Street somewhere. Yes, that it's massive. And then if we could reach out to state-owned fire service and others, and then we were able to reach out. Some gave very funny reasons to get there. And then till now, we are still trying to investigate why, the causes of that fire. If we get to know, we'll be able to categorize if it was an accident, if it was a carelessness, if it was deliberate. It depends. But I want to think that basically, generally, people would never want to deliberately set their houses on fire. So arson may not be an option, but it could be an accident. It could be carelessness also. We have had a lot of fire incidences resulting from adulterated petroleum products like kerosene, and then kerosene explosions everywhere. So even gas explosions. So we have, improper handling of cooking or household equipment, improper uses of electricity, like I said, overloaded sockets or circuits. There are extension sockets that are made for specific loads. There are sockets you buy for 700, 800, 1,500, even 2,000 naira that don't have surge. When you plug electrical irons on them, or electric cooker, even ring boilers, it will melt and then it results in fire. So there are quite a lot of, we need to go back to the basics and check. As for that of the department that got burnt in Eureka, it could be 40 electrical installations. Of course, students are creative. Sometimes maybe a certain fan is not working in the lecture hall. They may improvise and maybe they will run connections. We need to also check. Do they carry out regular maintenance routine in Eureka as a school? What are their practices with electrical handling and so on and so forth? So we need to investigate, and then in the coming days or weeks, we'll be able to come out with a report to say, okay, this is an holistic view of why there was fire, and then this is what we should do going forward.
Okay, let's look at those checks we should put in place to prevent fire outbreaks.
Outside the fact that Nigerians are used to having extinguishers in their car just to pass by FRSC officials and VIO, majority of our homes do not even have them. Yeah. Recently, I was at my friend's house and then we were playing PS5 in his parlor, and then suddenly the wife screamed there was fire from the gas cooker and all that. And I asked him, do you have an extinguisher? I said, no. So it took concerted effort for us to run back to the back of the house to switch off the source of ignition, which is the fire, the gas cylinder outside, and then we had to smother the process. So there are processes to extinguish fire. There are three basically. We say starvation, that's the denial of fuel into the system. Of course, fire is a tetrahedron arrangement. You must have fuel, you must have oxygen, and you must have the heat source. So the heat source in this case can be maybe cigarettes, the remnants of cigarettes, and then of course atmospheric oxygen is always present. And then you have the heat source itself, or the fuel, something, the combusting material. It can be solid material, it can be your clothes, and so on and so forth. It can be flammable liquids, anything at all. So you must be able to, starve. You take away, for example, you are frying plantain or something that has to do with oil, and then it catches fire. You don't pour water; it will spatter and it will escalate. So what you do most time is to smother it, to deny oxygen by just sliding a wet handkerchief on it on the frying pan. It denies it oxygen, so you smother it. We also have cooling. For every heat system, there's a cooling system. So if you cool certain systems, it can prevent fire. But basically, one of the most basic and common and most affordable practice, without relying on maybe state or federal owned fire services, is the fire extinguisher. They are affordable, they are available. We should all have them in their homes, and we should have them in their right sizes and proportion that one can carry. They are in different sizes from 1 kg to at least 50 kg. An average size man like me could still lift at least 25 to 30 kg extinguisher. But instead of going all that route, you can get the dry chemical powder, which cuts across all classes of fire. You can use that. You can use CO2 for electrical fires. You can have maybe 1 or 2 cylinders in the house and then learn how to use them appropriately. It's getting to a time where we must do a public sensitization on the basics on how to use fire extinguishers. So there are a lot of measures we need to use. Also material handling. People need to be careful how they use electricity, energy sources and all that. So, but basic firefighting has to be. And then I know that people also improvise at times where you see them put detergent inside water, put it together. Some use sand buckets and all that. So there are a lot of measures. Okay. But the basics is the fire extinguisher.
Okay. Yes. Now you made mention of the cylinder to starve the. So we see, go to some homes, we see they have the cylinder inside the kitchen. I think that's like a time bomb.
It's a time bomb, please. So if you must keep it in the house, it has to be at a safe distance. Mm-hmm. It means that you must have the pipes, those gas pipes, long enough away from the cooking gas, at least across maybe from end to end. That way you can have some safe distances. If not, just places across them, do a barricade in case of theft or whatever and all that. Also, we discovered that arsonists take advantage of such in case there are grievances or people who want to just harm people. They go behind and set the cylinders outside on fire also. So on both sides, it's basically 50-50. But the distance, the safe distance, keeping it away from the cooking point is at best. So you keep it away from there and then make sure where you are positioning it accessible. It's obstruction free. In case of fire, you can have access to such.
Okay, once we have the outbreak, what should people do?
Raise alarm.
Okay.
As one of your very key emergency procedure plans, you must raise alarm. You must be able to shout and call for help. There is no magic anywhere to fight fire other than having the collective response. And then over time, we are trying to see how we can, sensitize the public to have synergy. Maybe 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 block of houses come together, have trainings in case of emergency. I have your back, you have mine. So raise an alarm, call for help. You don't have an extinguisher or the proper extinguishing facility, people can have. They run to their cars, they run to their areas and bring, and then they come to support you. So the first thing is to alarm. You don't keep quiet when there's fire, because fire is better extinguished at the incipient stage, at that point where it is starting. If it escalates, it's a problem. Also, there are techniques in fighting fire. There's a difference between fighting the smoke of fire, fighting the flame of fire, and fighting fire. The main fire most times is at the base. That's why when you are fighting fire, you fight the base of fire, which is the source itself. If you are fighting the flame and the smoke of fire, you won't extinguish the fire. It will continue to escalate. So most times, there are also techniques. So from time to time, we need to do public enlightenment to tell people the right approach and the right things to do. And then we need to say this very clearly. It is time we quit our dependence on state or federal owned facilities. Imagine a fire happening somewhere at 8 miles and the only available fire truck happens to be from airport. Number one, the airport is farther. Number two, they have access to water. Unlike state-owned facilities where you keep hearing excuses like there are no diesel, there are no water, and they don't store water in their tanks for corrosion and all that. The world has evolved. They have moved beyond those levels at this point. They have anti-corrosion paints that you can coat your tank in the inside of your tank with and store water there. 3 months you still have water stored in them, and then there's no corrosion anywhere, because fire does not announce when it's going to happen. You just kickstart and you're on the move. Some don't even have functional batteries. Some don't have fuel in them. Some they don't even pick because there are no toll-free numbers. It's not the ones we used to have do not even work. And when you call individual number, network can be a problem, low battery can be a challenge. So response time is a challenge. So for us, we must start to tell people to be prepared themselves. I remember Boy Scouts guys there, one of our motto used to be vigilant. Yeah. We're at that point now where we have to be vigilant. Of course, the dry season is also coming where people just have this burning of grasses and all that. So we must be prepared for this fire. If in January we have 3-4 major fires, none of them were minors, then we need to be prepared for it. Yes.
Toby, before I let you go, let's get your tips on preventing fire outbreaks in houses.
Yes, one of the most common, like I said, is overloading of electrical circuits. So please, let's use electricity wisely. If the extension cables you are buying or your circuit is basically for television and fan, don't extend it and charging of phones. If you must use other powerful or high wattage electrical appliances like the boiler, the water kettle, and all that, you must buy an electrical surge circuit. They have surge so that if the power is getting too much, it will trip off. They're about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 naira. It's a bit expensive, but we need to go for them because we need to embrace quality. Also, if you are using your wall mattresses and sockets, 13 amps, make sure you go for the original. They are Nigerian made, they are Chinese made, and all that. Go for original. Use electricity while you are leaving your house. Switch off all appliances. If you must leave your freezers on, for example, to refrigerate your food and all that, make sure you have AVR on your stabilizers, the automatic voltage regulators. If the power trips off, it will adjust itself. If it goes down, they adjust. So they are AVRs, they can regulate each other. So you must use electricity wisely, which is most popular. Also, don't expose flammable liquids in your house. Don't store petrol. Yeah, there have been rumors that subsidy will be removed, and at some point there are consensus after Labour threatened the strike that there won't be increment. So why go to hot fuel? Don't hot fuel in your house. Also, we discourage the use of candles. If you must use it, put it on a saucer or a clay pot that can melt. So people put it on tables. Table is a combustible material because it's made of wood. So at the point this thing burns, the wick inside is on the table, and it catches fire, and so from there it escalates. So there are a lot of measures we need to put in place. Let's be more careful. If you have grievances, settle it immediately. Don't be arsonist. We don't encourage it at the point where people are struggling. We have people with depression and all that. I want to kill myself. I won't die. This is not the point. People just set fire on themselves. When them in Israel and Palestine, people protest, set fire on themselves. They are arsonists everywhere. People who are ready to die at every point. So we need to also try as much as possible to give psychological support to people who come across. And these are the few I need to just drop.
Thank you so very much, Engineer Toby Michael, HSE expert. Thank you for your time. Hope to bring you back to look at other safety issues.
It will be a pleasure to be back here. Thank you, Cross River State. Thank you, FCG.
All right. Stay with us. We're not done yet. Don't go anywhere.